What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. Whenever TCG Player changes the front card on their page, I'm actually interested to talk about it, not because it's brain dead, easily presented content for me once a month or so now, but actually because TCG Player knows what the heck they're doing, and they pick some pretty darn good cards. And right now, it is Solemn Strike from Battles of Legend Relentless Revenge, sitting at $3. This is very reminiscent of Code of the Duelist, where we had the super rare come out, and the super rare was just $3 as well. Now, I have a few thoughts on Solemn Strike at this point, since they just reprinted it again. There is a higher volume, but over time, you need a playset of this card typically if you're going for this card. I've only seen it played in 2 to 3s, usually 3s when people opt to go for it. And we did see it resurge as recently as full power Spiral format, where people would side deck it so Super Agent couldn't pop out of hand, and you would effectively stuff it. Or it would pop out of hand and try to use its pop effect. You'd hit it there and it's used its hard once per turn pop effect. Now, it's $275 on eBay, $280, very quickly $3 as well. My thoughts here, and first off, to prove there's an actual impact, you might recall from Battles of Legend, we had the top cards being the hollowed reprints, such as Unizombie and Eater of Millions, the rarity bumps, so to speak. Now look what's atop. The best-selling cards is now Solemn Strike. It's like people actually see it on the front page, click it, and consider it. And we saw similar baby bumps in prices to Pot of Desires a long time back, from like $3 to $3.50/4, from it being on the front directly. So there is a direct impact. This is now the best-selling card right now on TCG Player. That's pretty crazy. But we kind of look at Solemn Strike as a investment, so to speak. Should I be getting these now or later? And the question you really have to ask yourself is, when is this going to become like Warning and stuffed in a bunch of starter decks, and how will that affect its price? Once Warnings and starter decks is still a solid $2 card, even with its newer reprints. So I feel like, as a 3 of that you can still play 3 at, Solemn Strike, a very good card. Over time, these hollow versions will head towards $5, and even with a reprint, they're likely to somewhat keep their value for their lower rarity printings. But you do have a lot of printings over the last few years. If we look at Solemn Strike in general, Konami definitely does have eyes for it, and there are very cheap secret rare Bosch versions, unlimited, at $6. So you see where I'm headed with this. The Mega Pack secrets, its average price was $10 before this reprint. Now we see it at $6 as well for the Mega Pack. First edition Mega Pack, still $6. There's a lot out there, and there's a lot of choices, but I think when looking at these cards, you know, each of them have the ceiling to go up once again, as it did with the Super. The Super barely phased the card. This time we have it in a reprint set where it's being opened a ton for other cards, and that reprint set that we're actually going to speak of is pretty darn good overall. The Battles of Legend, we've looked through these cards time and time again, and they keep falling right now because a ton of it's being open. It's actually not going up sealed as people might have expected from the previous Battles of Legend, so a lot of vendors that may have ordered a ton of this are starting to list their boxes at pretty much cost, $60 here. Stromberg down to 20, so there's no real big card that gives you your value back. You have to really open all the packs and grind out the value from the sealed product. And Stromberg, surprising, it hits that perfect spot of collectability and playability, in my opinion, and I am shocked that it's so low. But we don't have Needle Fiber yet. Yes, there's better decks to abuse Needle Fiber with. Oh, it really became whelming. And another card that's very, very cheap now, Topologic Gumbler Dragon, that ends up in a lot of extra decks. It reminds me of Borreload. Borreload started out relatively cheap to what its full price ended up being. Gumblar is going to get abused in decks besides Gokis once Gokis get hit. We already see that Vindred combo where you just open Gozuki and Slayer and you go nuts. It's really, really something else to watch. So you do want to kind of consider Gumblar itself. Like, it's a really good card to have. I would have at least your one of. We could see once we leave this offseason, this just spiking completely, and it's unlikely to get a direct hit very quickly, in my opinion. And we see Bamboozling falling back down, but another card, the Rogue Hero, Dreadnought Dreadnoid. I've lost to this more times than I'd care to admit, which is once, and one is way too many. But Dreadnoid was short printed in the set. It got very hyped in terms of a lot of duelists wanting to have this card. It looks awesome, it seems awesome, and its price is stable, surprisingly so. Gamma Seal, long term, I would probably start getting this. Still the best kaiju, already holding a great price. And how much more of the set's going to get opened, I don't know. But why I originally had Reincarnation down here, Reincarnation feels like it's going to get hit. Or something really bad's going to happen to the Trickstars. But I feel like they'll go for Reincarnation in addition to maybe something else. That definitely held it back in the OCG. I don't feel like they're going to go for Droll, although I would applaud that hit personally. I feel like they think it controls the game in a sense similar to how Maxi used to. And I don't think they'll be going for it too fast. So I think that's why this is so cheap. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, at it slowly climbing, but at the same time, a lot of banlist fears, similar to how True Dracos kept a really low price over each ban list. I think we'll see that from this headed forward. I've had several people message me. I'm not even kidding. Several of you guys message me about Evenly Matched being $33. And it makes me wonder, do you listen to my content before you message me? Because I have screamed we're entering the off season. I have screamed that these cards will be going down and that I would get rid of them because the Megatins are the most open product of the year, period. You have tons of independent vendors going in and buying case after case at cost. The cost of each tin to vendors is $11. So when they sell this fresh out of the Megatins for around $15, they're winning off one card that they have pulled, and there's only 15 secrets. So 3 tins are likely to give you over half the spread of secrets for just $30. And this year you have Saryuja, Borreload, Evenly Matched, Firewall, Topologic Bomber Dragon. You know how many heavy hitters are in that product and how much the pre-sales are going to just give the vendors a rake in? Oh, they are going to be so happy. And realistically, each of those cards could be, you know, the value of the 10. Minus Topologic. I feel Firewall could be like 15 to 10. You could have Evenly Matched being 15, Borreload being 15, Saryuja being 10 to 11. Easily, all those cards are going to give the vendors their money back on their 10, and then they're going to pull multiples throughout those 10s. So be aware of that. Borreload falling actually slower because you need one of them in your extra deck. A lot of people have told me I'm not getting rid of my Borreload right now, and I expect it, you know, to be at least 30. I won't lose that bad. Maybe over time, you're not wrong. Solemn Strike over time did rise back towards 30. So we very well could see Borreload be that card that manages to do it. But Evenly Matched people will need 3 of out of the 10, so I do expect it to recover somewhat well. But initially, I think it'll be 15 to 20. And prices over here, 34, 35. So just keep the ratios in mind. Looking at the other year, Wind Witch Ice Spell was one of the cards not reprinted, and you might remember Spiral Super Agent as well. This has floated back to 20 so many gosh dang times, and now it's your turn to kind of call what's not in the 10s. Will it be something like Spellbook of Knowledge? Will it be Rescue Ferret? And what can go up over time and be a use? What's going to be missing from the Megatins? That's kind of the pieces we're putting together now and trying to call, and that's kind of what a very risky investment until you actually know it. But if you wait till that hour where everything's spoiled, then you're in the rat race. So a lot of people like to go in as things are falling right now and race towards that announcement. That's a lot more of a gamble that I personally like to take, but I do understand it with stuff like Rescue Ferret being $250. That's so gosh dang cheap. Under $3. Another set I just wanted to cover real quick, Spirit Warriors. We're in the off season, so a lot of people are looking for cards to trade for. I actually think Magical Musketeers did fail harder in anticipation than a lot of decks. But when I look at the set, the 6 Samurais actually kind of stick out as investments. The Fuma ended up being way better than I thought, but cards like Kizon and Asceticism was lowest like $5 before this reprint, and things like Kizon were lowest $2 and is actually sitting at 75 cents / $1 with only 22 prices. This is actually going off market slowly. People love 6 Samurais and they love to have the cards. these are things to consider. Maybe going in now on and getting his throw-ins on trades, or maybe, you know, getting a couple copies of to have in your back pocket, because I think these are the underlooked cards of the set, and Six Samurai slowly did head towards being the most expensive stuff out of the set over time as the rest of it fell. So something just to consider long term. If these cards don't see reprints anytime soon, over time they'll go up. The Fabled, I missed this with danger, danger, danger. And I also said something wrong in the last Market Watch. You pitching the Nightmares, Dark World's off Nightmares, you can't get effects. That's a cost. So the Fableds are something a lot of people have been considering as well, and I've heard the boards are way more insane, that it's more consistent, and it seems like a lot of people want to go this route over the fan favorite Dark World. And Fableds definitely have a insane ceiling and insane potential, and it's pretty funny to see this buyout happen here. We see like $35 Ravens, and Ravens way cheaper already over here on eBay, although the secret first lowest is 25, and it might not come back to market the quickest because that's D-Rev. A D-Rev first ed secret is pretty hard to find these days. So looking at these prices, can't say I'm too surprised. The quantities were low. It was easy buyouts. But for me, I don't know. Billy's really makes Sky Striker sound like the way to go, and that might be a boring tale for you guys. But for me, that's so much more believable than Fabled or Dark World, despite the synergy. I feel like Sky Striker Danger will be the way it ends up played, as long as the ban list doesn't go in on Hornet too hard, or you know, Engage. Like Engage Hornet is obviously 6 cards to fill out slots in that deck and goes real well with it. Also, I think, what is it, Greffer Nessie is Extra Link or something crazy. You might want to look into that as well. Another card that I noticed is like at its all-time low in a very long time is Formula Synchron. It's just kind of fell off in terms of pricing and gone to the back burner. But I did notice that the Duelist Saga one has steady risen, as a lot of Duelist Saga cards have, since they're the only ones with that rarity. In my opinion, I'd be going with the secret rare for long term. It's held value above $6 relatively well. Yeah, it's at $7 here, still quote unquote above market price, but we've seen this hit 9, 10, 12 multiple times. So just something to think about during the off season, as, you know, maybe a way to break in decks with needle fiber. I would be considering Formula definitely as a card to have. Like, I feel like somebody's going to break this card one day. That's just my personal feeling. Maybe it's a bad card, but it is a just personal feeling that this card ran a format. It can run again. The original FA, right, boys? And another card, going back towards plant format, Foolish Burial, is really expensive. The supers here lowest are $73 mint, and I've noticed also over here we see the lowest English is at $76, but there's a flood of foreign ones. We see the Italian here at $65, and we see a ton of German ones around the $50 mark, maybe helping choke the price. But this is headed towards being the next CP Book of Moon. This is one of the most impactful cards of all time, and how it's actually sitting up here at this crazy price, it's not so crazy to me. We actually looked through all Foolish Burials, and how I noticed this is somebody messaged me about the secret falling out, and there were 22 prices yesterday, so it almost feels targeted. But I was told about this. We see it at $9, which is near its market price, but I'm still actually surprised about the market price itself. But quickly disappearing in terms of quantities, nobody has a lot of them. You might want to consider, if you want a hollow Foolish Burial, and you don't want to go platinum like me, and you don't want to go super because you can't afford it, but you want a hollow one, this is a really good mid-rarity that looks really nice out of Joey's world, and they're disappearing. I didn't know the DT was this high, 612. Almost every single version of this is just going up. Look, even the platinum, $3. Like, almost every... Oh, that's gold. P gold, my bad. Let's see the platinum. Let's see what my copy goes for. $1.50. Nice. Below market price. But almost every single version is going up versus market price, and That's interesting to me. You do see Foolish Plate Index here and there, and I don't think that's without merit. So thanks for watching today's Market Watch. What did you think of some of the investment calls / speculation on the Megatins and the confirmed cards? Of course, I'm gonna go a little mad. At this point, if you message me about it, like I'm gonna assume you're trolling me or you're not keeping up with my content, and either way, shame on you. So, the confirmed card in the Megatins, I'm just gonna answer you and not put it really into video form. I don't want to sound like a broken record all the time. Always check both eBay and TCG Player. But again, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you're feeling. And how do you feel about this feature card? I feel like it's $5 over time, but I also feel like it'll be structure deck featured eventually as well. So then it comes down to what copies you should have.